Okay, Facebook says we're live. I'm going to take just a minute to make sure that people can hear me and all that good stuff. And I'll let people get the link out. Welcome to American Revolution. I am your host, Andrew Meyer. Today we're going to be talking with the CEO of Parler, John Matze. John, tell the people about yourself.
Sure. I don't know how many of you have heard of what we're doing here, but basically what we started is it's a free speech social media, and when I say free speech, I mean things that are protected by the First Amendment. And the idea is that people can go on there and express themselves however they'd like, and our goal is to live up to those ideals and also to kind of bridge this political divide we've got in America right now. Because it's pretty nasty what we've got going on, to kind of get people talking about things they otherwise couldn't.
Absolutely. Now, before we keep going, I just want to let you get the link for this. So everybody in the comments, you can just hang on just a second and let me know, how's the sound? Is everything good, you guys? Let me see you in the comments. Okay, people love it.
All right.
Nah, I'm having a hard time grabbing the link. Nah.
All right, we can do it later.
All right.
It's okay.
Anyway, let's get to the important questions. Why are people moving from other social networks to Parler?
Well, I think it's been pretty relevant lately, especially with all of this censorship that's been going on from these mainstream platforms. In my opinion, I think it is happening, and according to the Pew Research Center, there's a large portion of Americans that also believe that it's politically motivated, and it is happening. It's not just the fringe groups that this is happening to; it's mainstream individuals.
Absolutely.
And originally we saw this happening like about a year ago when we started the company, but we didn't see it from the individual standpoint, like people who are conservatives being censored. We saw it from the standpoint of journalists, that people who are sharing links to their articles, the articles would get the algorithm that publishes all the articles to everybody on Facebook or other social media platforms. It was inconsistent, and it was causing these massive ups and downs of traffic for large media outlets. And so that's originally what we founded upon, and it's developed into what it is today.
People are saying the sound is a little bit down. Give me just a second. I'm going to boost John's sound, everybody. Let's turn him up. So that should work a little better now.
All right. Is that better?
You guys in the comments, is that better hearing John? I think yes. We're getting yes.
Okay, cool.
A little bit down. Give me just a second. I'm going to boost John's sound, everybody. Let's turn him up. Sorry, I used to have there we go. Much better. Awesome. Okay, they're going to hear you much better now, John. I used to have a pro producer, Tom Shadley, that would hook me up with all this stuff. Now I got to do all this tech stuff myself. So sometimes it takes me a second. But
that's fine. I'm sure on my end, an iPhone strapped to a battery pack with some AirPods is not professional grade anyway. So
it's all good. There's a lot of talk of President Trump potentially starting a Parler account. So a lot of people are asking, what attracted President Trump to Parler, and how would you handle the massive increase in traffic that would come from President Trump joining Parler?
Yeah, from my standpoint, I think they're all rumors as of right now. I heard it first from the Politico article. That was the first time I knew that was a consideration. So I'm not sure, but we're getting ready for it. We had a minor outage this morning, and that was mostly due to because we don't have 24-hour staff here, and something happens at 5 a.m. Well, someone has to wake up and figure it out. So we're solving that one real quick. That's first things first. But in terms of scale, I think we're getting ready. I mean, we're getting more and more prepared every week. It's only a matter of time before we're there, and we have metrics that we want to meet. And when we meet those metrics, we're ready to take on anybody that we need to.
Awesome. Well, I hope people are encouraged by that. I just joined Parler myself. I finally got to get Andrew Meyer on Twitter and Facebook. Even my URL, I had to be the Andrew Meyer, but on Parler, I got Andrew Meyer. So the real estate's fresh, people. You guys can go snatch up names while you can.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and people have been really excited because they're getting a lot of user engagement, a lot more than they do on other social networks. And the user engagement's relatively positive, and there's not a lot of hateful stuff going on, which is really good, especially for when people are trying to check out a new platform and they notice they get 500 followers within a couple hours. They're like, whoa, okay, this is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that you can get followers pretty quickly on Parler, just people seeing that you popped up there. And I've noticed that it's pretty cool, like the people because the social network is made by the people that are on it. So that's going to be the vibe. And, there's been some other social networks where you pop up and the vibe is like, a lot of insane, crazy people. But you go on Parler and it's pretty cool, chill people. So it's great for a starting network. I'm a big fan of it. But I wanted to ask you.
We got very lucky with the users that are on there right now. I think long term we're going to be trying to build in tools that allow people to create their own environments around them. So if they want to be exposed to the crazy people, or they want to be exposed to just mainstream individuals, our goal is to allow them to choose what environments they want to be in. So we don't have to take any control of the platform as a whole, other than just making sure that they abide by the law.
That's an interesting point right there, abiding by the law. I am curious, how will Parler be able to respond in real time to posts that express violence? We know that Twitter has allowed death threats to President Trump. Even when people report it, there's been targeted harassment of journalists like Mike Cernovich. Would you remove users that threaten violence or commit criminal acts on your platform? And how would you respond in real time to posts that express violence?
I mean, we're going to try our best to get to them as quickly as possible. But we have a chart that we developed that's in our community guidelines. Because one of the things we noticed about people who have terms of service and community guidelines, the mainstream social medias, they're really vague, arbitrary, and basically give them the power to do whatever they want. I mean, in our terms of service, yes, of course, we've got the power to do whatever we want, but that's if we did that, that would be an extremely large abuse of the user's trust. We would never do that, right? So what we've outlined in our community guidelines is basically what we're going to do to work with people on the platform, and that is on a chart that's really basic and easy to see. On the right side, it says what's not allowed. On the left, what is allowed. And we tried to make it all aligned with Supreme Court cases or something in the First Amendment.
Okay, so let's use a quick example. Laura Loomer was banned from Twitter for calling out the actual ideas of Ilhan Omar. Would Laura Loomer be banned? Would anybody be banned for ideas that maybe are politically incorrect?
No. I mean, look especially if they're politically incorrect, that's the stuff that needs to be discussed. I mean, if she feels that way, and there's a large portion of America that feels that way, and you ban that individual, all of those people are then going to feel validated that their belief is going to be even stronger, and they're going to feel hatred, or one side or the other is going to feel hatred for each other because they can't even discuss it. It only makes the problem worse. So if you can't even discuss the problems, and to be honest, I don't think I don't really know if what all that controversy was about was really worth banning people over. It's all in all, I think it's extreme and it breeds more hatred than it solves.
Cool. Well, it's good to know that people aren't going to be banned for their ideas from Parler, because the idea of building up a big social media account, putting a lot of work and effort into it, and then to have it destroyed because the corporation just doesn't agree with you, like Facebook is doing, like Twitter is doing, like YouTube like all of them are doing to people. I think that's part of what's driving the need for something like Parler, is for people to feel like they can actually have free speech and still keep their account, even if they say something that is politically incorrect.
People are making a time investment into a platform, right? I mean, it's kind of unfair that the people are what built these social platforms. You can't put a number of features in there that makes up for the fact that people chose to be on there and they invited each other to that platform. If they leave tomorrow, their value's gone. I mean, what does Twitter have without users? So if you abuse their trust, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, and that goes further than just banning people for their views. It's also selling their privacy. I mean, if you're selling people's personal data, that's pretty low, in my opinion. And if I haven't used social media in years, and part of the reason is I'm like, okay, I know they know where I'm at, I know they know what I'm doing, and I know they're also making money off of that information, and I find it really creepy, especially the ads that are tracking me across platforms.
That's a great point. A lot of people don't understand. Part of Facebook's business model is selling your data to who knows where and claiming ownership over it. So it's nice to hear you're not going to be selling out your user data. That's another big plus for me to be part of Parler. I am curious.
I mean, if some of the people say that the individuals in charge of these companies will do anything for a buck. I mean, yeah, they probably made a lot more money right off the bat by selling this personal data, but they're not going to live the long term. I mean, the users are going to leave. People are going to get tired of it. They're building a foundation on a bad relationship, and it's not going to sustain itself.
That's a great point. Now, talking about not selling users' data, which we know that Facebook and other companies do that type of stuff. How does Parler plan to become profitable and sustainable? How do we know you're going to be there for the long haul, especially with all the infrastructure growth you're going to have to do? How are you going to be profitable without selling out user data?
So I'm excited about this because what we want to do is kind of partner with users, if that makes sense, right? Because the users are the value, not because they have content which is very interesting and which brings other people around. And so if we were going to keep users, we need to make sure that as we grow, they grow too. And influencer marketing is huge right now, and getting people to see either ads or sponsorships or something through the influencers that they know and trust it's a much more effective way than banner ads, which are just annoying and creepy anyway. So, working with influencers to ensure that not just them, but also publications can have the tools to actually market on their own profile or on their own website, and using us as the medium to do that will ensure that they both make money and we do too. And so that's the theme behind everything that we're doing for monetization. And we're about 1 month into development on our first release of what's going to be called we don't have an actual trademark name for it yet. We're calling it the Influence Network for now, but it's going to be exactly that, a way for prominent individuals or anybody really to use their profile to generate revenue for themselves and us. And if they don't want to, they don't have to participate in it either.
That's great. People will be able to monetize. A lot of people don't know that Facebook has exclusive ways to monetize for very big pages. So you're outright telling people there's going to be ways to monetize rather than pretty much keep it secret the way Facebook does. They don't even tell people that it's possible to monetize. And YouTube, which yanks monetization from people whose speech they don't like. It's nice to hear that you're going to have a program like that.
Thank you. And we've thought about it pretty extensively. I mean, part of the reason that they have to yank monetization from people and they have to do this stuff is because they don't want their advertisers to be, basically put in next to like let's say that somebody is a politician on the left or is a religious figure with one group, and then the NRA sticks an ad right in the middle of that too, and those are two things that those people are fundamentally against, right? So they have to go to the NRA and say, you're not allowed to advertise weapons on here because you might offend people, because they just place ads in your feed or they place it on people's profiles. They place ads all over the place. So they have to make sure that it's basically adhering to the lowest common denominator of tolerance, basically. So by making it so that you go through the influencers directly, you don't have that problem anymore. And you don't have to worry about advertisers bailing on you, or you don't have to worry about people being extremely offended, because the model's different. It's not centralized anymore. It's up to the individuals.
We have
that's the general premise.
We have
telling too much.
We have some cool comments. I just want to shout out the people in the comments. Sean A. Pritchard says, just joined. He also wants you to know if you need some data scientist full stack developers, let him know. There's another comment.
We need all the help we can get, by the way.
All right, so Sean, maybe link up with John Matze. You can find him, I guess. Where can people find you if they want to reach out to you after this interview?
We have a contact form on our website, which people actually are managing. It's just there's a lot to go through, so it takes a little bit. We do look at them. We also have some people on the platform you can @tag. But generally, if you go to the contact form on the website, you can get a hold of us.
There you go. You guys that are asking for John for a job, there you go. That's how you find him.
Just don't call my cell phone, because I won't pick up, and people keep stalking me now. So it's kind of creepy.
All right, don't stalk John, everybody. But I do want to ask a couple other things in regards to stalkers. Actually, how will Parler secure itself from anons, bots, sock puppets, the type that actually stalk like that? I've seen this myself. I know Cernovich gets it a lot. How are you going to stop these type of sock puppets that jam accounts, that stalk accounts, and just write nonsense comments? People that astroturf. How are you going to stop these type of bot accounts that Twitter lets run wild?
Yeah, none of these social platforms have really gotten on top of it too much. There's only so much you can do to secure your network from somebody being able to create a robot. But what we are doing is securing the accounts from becoming a robot, or allowing you to prevent them by, for example, the user verification is very important for this. So you notice anybody can get verified on Parler and get a red badge. That doesn't mean that you're who you say you are. It just means that's a real person behind that account. Which means if you turn yourself into a robot and you start spamming the platform, and we ban you with your red badge for spamming people a bunch of random ads or just garbage, or we determine it to be a bot, it's gone for forever. That ID only gets verified once. So, the idea behind it is people on their profile will eventually be able, when there's enough verified individuals, they'll be able to say, I only want comments from people who are also verified. And then it makes it extremely difficult.
Wow, that's a great system. So John's already thought that one through. For people that haven't signed up at Parler.com yet, what he's talking about is on your profile. So Kathy Ahana in the comments right there. If you get your verification badge, or anybody else, you send them your ID, you get verified, and then if your account starts acting like a bot, you get your verification removed. And then anybody can block comments from people that aren't actual verified humans. So that's a pretty good.
Yeah, that's one of the next things we're adding.
Okay.
But it's on the to-do map, and it's going to be relatively quick, because fighting bots is very important right now. But yes, but the idea is it's not arbitrary. Like, is this a bot? I mean, if you're making like thousands of requests a second, like that's it's not what you say that it makes you a bot. It's if you're making networking calls all over the place and you're just blowing up the platform, okay, you're a bot. I mean, when somebody makes a post and within 2 seconds before the post even, really gets published to anybody to see on their feed, it already has 10,000 likes. You're like, okay, something's going on here.
That's a pretty cool system. So again, for people that don't know, anybody can get a verification badge on Parler. There's also a gold influencer badge. That's really the whole reason for this interview. I want a gold influencer badge, John. So I need to know, can I get one?
It's possible. Generally speaking, right now, gold influencer badges are being given to people who are being impersonated. So if you go, is this a prominent individual that I'm recognizing on TV, or that, that's got 500,000 followers, or was recently banned from Twitter, is it really them? They've got a gold badge, it is. They got a red badge, that just means they're a real person, and they could be impersonating them. But if that's the case, we'll notify the individual. But the gold badge has that meaning However, in the long run, I think we're going to do away with the gold badges because it's a manual process and it's rather unfair, in my opinion. I think it's kind of hierarchical. We're going to have more of an automated process so that people can earn a gold badge by using the red badge verification. And then, basically we'll have a setting where you can say, set my name to my real name. Then it will become an orange badge. And then if you're one of the top performers on the website, your orange badge turns into a gold badge. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's merit-based. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I like it. Speaking about influencers banned from other platforms, it's cool. When I joined Parler, I got to see a lot of my favorite people that, banned from Twitter, can't find them on Facebook. All of a sudden, they exist again. I could find Milo. I could find Laura Loomer. I could find Gavin McInnes. I could find Alex
Jones.
Jones.
You notice, they're not saying anything that's against the law on there either. I mean, look at Milo is a very controversial figure, for example. And one of the reasons we made this statement is we will not pre-ban anybody for anything they may or may not have said in the past. If you violate our terms of service, it has to be on our platform. So if you go out in public and you do something that gets you arrested, or you're doing something extreme or whatever that's against the law, that is, as long as you don't come to the platform and do that, you're fine. I mean, I think that's fair. And so that got twisted up a little bit on CBS or I can't quote it right. It's on my profile. I complained about it, but they twisted up my quote a little bit by saying they won't ban anybody. Well, that's not true. I mean, if you break the law, we're gonna, and outside of that, things are not protected by the First Amendment. Like, we don't want any nudity or pornography on there at all. Like, it's just not the site for us.
That makes sense.
So, as long as you abide by those rules, if you're Milo or you're Laura Loomer, Alex Jones, whoever else out there has been banned, BJW, you're welcome. You know the rules, and they're very fair. And I think, it creates an environment where everyone can enjoy it.
Now that's an interesting point you brought up about people that do actions in the real world getting banned. I know one of the reasons they banned Alex Jones from Twitter, they claimed, is because he, in real life, went and insulted a CNN reporter who, in my opinion, deserved all of the insults that he got. But he insulted him off platform, like not in a tweet or anything, although he may have been periscoping, but I don't think it was from his official Alex Jones account. And he got banned for what he did in real life. He got banned from Twitter. Are you saying also, so if someone like, Chris Cuomo from CNN joins an Antifa rally, and Chris Cuomo at the Antifa rally says, "I want you all to go beat up Trump supporters," would Chris Cuomo get banned from Parler for saying at an Antifa rally, "Go beat up Trump supporters"?
No. If he said that at an Antifa rally, he would not get banned. If he said that on the platform, that's considered fighting words, and it's actually against the law to incite violence against people. So I don't know why somebody saying that wouldn't get arrested in person for doing that, but on our platform, you get booted for saying that on the platform, but not if you said it on person. Then you came out on the platform, and you'd be fine.
Okay,
if that makes sense. I think that's fair, right? I mean, it's not my job to judge what they do outside of their relationship with Parler.
I think that's fair, and I think I came up with a very apt example. Chris Cuomo, who does support Antifa, he's compared them to World War II veterans going to a rally and telling people to beat up Trump supporters. I think that was a very good example.
By World War II veterans, do you mean brown shirts?
Yeah, no. Chris Cuomo compared Antifa to American World War II veterans, and said how great they are. So
sorry, I misspoke.
Yeah. It's all good. I just I wanted to pat myself on the back for my clever, quick,
No, that's good. Yeah, and that's a great example because realistically, what someone says or does outside of our platform doesn't mean anything to us. As long as what they're doing on our platform doesn't violate the rules.
Very cool. I have a list of questions. I want to see what I missed, and if you guys in the comments want anything else from John Matze before he goes, if you have cool comments, cool questions, this is your last chance coming up soon. Mindy Spector is asking about live streams going through. Is Parler going to have a live stream application in the near future?
I don't know how near. We're working on videos first and then live stream. We found a vendor who can do both, who shares the idea that, as long as it's legal, they can do it. And so we've worked that out with them, and we just have to figure out a timing with their engineers and ours when we get the time to do it. But it's on the radar, yes, for sure.
Awesome. Now, do you think platform access to public utilities, and this is an important question, because if you're the CEO of a company that becomes, supplants Twitter, becomes massive, this is an important thing to know. Do you think platform access to public utilities, such as monopoly-sized social networks, do you think it's a civil right, as people like legal scholar Will Chamberlain have asserted? Do you think it's a civil right to access a social network that's essentially monopoly-sized?
It's interesting you bring that up, because there was a Supreme Court, and I'm going to butcher the title, okay, because I can't remember it. There's a North Carolina case where the state of North Carolina went after this individual who, is it North Carolina v. Packington? Anyway, they went after an individual who was a sex offender, and they said basically anybody who's a sex offender is not allowed on social media, which I think any reasonable person might say, well, that's not a bad idea. But the Supreme Court came in and said, no, you can't pre-ban people from social media because of things that they've done. And so they actually ruled that as illegal. So if the Supreme Court says that you can't forbid people based off of whatever they might have done from joining a social platform from a government level, right? Why shouldn't the same thing be said for like a platform like ours? Now, if we're a social platform, that means we're not a publication. We don't choose what gets written. We don't choose what people can and cannot say on our platform. Now, I would argue that most social medias, as everyone knows it today, those are not social medias, those are social publications, because they're choosing the content that's allowed on their site that's beyond the scope of the First Amendment. And so I think that everyone should have a right to be on a social media, but not necessarily on a social publication. They just need to come out and say it, and I think the law just needs to reflect what the reality is. I might be wrong on all this, but that's my latest conclusion that I've had, and I'm pretty flexible with my opinions. If people bring up good facts, I'll change my mind, but that's where I'm at right now.
That's an interesting point. I think it's at least principled and fair to say that if you're a publication, fine, then you could ban people, but say that you're a publication, and then they could be sued. They wouldn't have that Section 230 immunity exactly. that they're currently enjoying, where they
totally
can't be sued.
They shouldn't be exempt. They should not be qualified for Section 230 if they're a publication like that. It's unfair.
Yeah, and they absolutely are publishers at this point. Facebook's been caught, for example, messing with the trending stories. Twitter's been caught doing this too, where they're taking down the trending news topics that they don't like because maybe it's right wing, maybe it's too libertarian, whatever it might be. They'll mess with what's actually trending. So at this point, they become a publisher. And Twitter even has their Twitter moments where they're literally publishing stories, and it's all one way politically. So very obvious that the existing platforms, Twitter and Facebook.
And I understand their temptation. There was some users trending last night where I'm like, okay, well, I can't mess with it, so there you go, people.
Yeah.
I understand the temptation, but you can't do that. It's wrong. It's just against the principle of the whole thing.
I have a question from Ted Paul in the comments. Ted Paul has another example for you of in real life versus on platform. He wants to know, for example, what if the rally somebody is at is a radical Islamist rally and the speaker called for killing Jews? Could they post that video? It's not their speech, but they're reporting on it, but it is a call to violence. Would that video be allowed?
It's a reporter that's reporting what that person said. Right? Is what you're claiming?
Yeah, let's say that
themselves posting the video.
Right. Let's say I or Mike Cernovich or Laura Loomer, let's say we go cover an Ilhan Omar rally, and Ilhan Omar said, "I want to kill Jews." Or Ilhan Omar said, "We should all go kill Jews" at the rally. Would that be bannable since we're the ones posting the video and it is a call to violence?
I guess it would depend on the context, and I'd have to find some kind of statute or some kind of case that's around it. I mean, that's a difficult situation, right? And that's something that we would have in our portal, which is where all the reported stuff goes. And we'd have to actually have somebody do research on that before we take an action, or we'd send it off to our lawyers and have them take a look. I know legally speaking, right, we don't have to, but I'd rather do it that way and have them look and be like, okay, so, what's the precedence on this?
Okay. It's a fair way of looking at things. Let's see what other questions we got from the crowd. Go ahead.
No, sounds good. Let's take a question. Hey, Andrew, you still there?
Yeah, I'm just looking through. I'm not going to read everything people say. There's some things in here,
Okay.
It is the internet. People can say a lot of things.
They're welcome to it, whatever.
Someone wants to know if you would partner with other digital social platforms.
What does that mean?
I don't know what he means, but I had someone else ask me, for example, they wanted to know if Parler could set something up where if they post on Parler, it also gets posted to their other social media network accounts. That way they only have to run one account, but they can have their home base be Parler or something like that.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Parler being the one that generates the content, and then it gets shared to other platforms. I wouldn't import from other platforms, though. But I'd only really do that if we could come to an agreement with the other social platforms. And right now, I don't think they're too happy with us. I'm more than happy to work with them. I'm not opposed to that. But I'd want to get some kind of guarantee that if we spend, 40 hours of engineering time on that it's not just going to get cut off because they don't like us.
Very cool. Well, that about does it for my questions. I think everybody really enjoyed this live stream. Do you have any thoughts, any parting thoughts for the people in the audience?
No, it sounds good. Just, enjoy and speak free. Let us know if you need anything. You can always @tag all of us on there. So we're monitoring it. Just let us know.
Let me ask one more thing. Who were you most maybe surprised that popped up on Parler right away? Because I think you guys have been open correct me if I'm wrong, something like 6 months. So in 6 months already, you have some pretty big name users. So please correct me on the time frame, how long you guys have even been open, and who popped up on there that you were like, wow, that's amazing. We already have this person posting on our platform.
Every day we get someone like that, and you're like, oh my God, wow. This morning we had a prominent religious individual join. I was like, whoa, that's really cool. Awesome, really neat. You never know who's going to be joining every day. But I guess the most shocking was when we blew up overnight back in December. When we were still testing it, we only had 500 users at the time. We were just testing the environment, and just kind of blew up. So
I remember Candace Owens tweeted about it, and I joined. A lot of people joined right away. I tried to join. At that time, it wasn't doing it for me, but everybody was like, okay, Parler's going to be the next big thing when Candace tweeted about it.
She and I, had a conversation before that, and, I told her, please, whatever you do, you can tell people about the platform, just don't tweet about it, please. Don't do that. She gave me a heads up, hey, people started talking about it anyway, John, don't hate me, but I'm going to end up tweeting about it. I'm like, all right, here we go. We're not ready. We didn't even have the designs done yet, so it was ugly and slow, and the servers were hosted in our at the time a warehouse in Las Vegas. So it was it was interesting. So.
I'm gonna stir the pot a little bit. I had tweeted that you guys, especially if President Trump joins Parler, are gonna blow up overnight and instantly become the alternative social network, replacing Gab. And someone from the Gab account, I don't know if it was Andrew Torber or whatever, they were clearly mad that I said that. And they claimed that you wouldn't be able to handle all the traffic and that there's no way you could do what Gab did, essentially, and build a platform that works, which obviously is possible to do. What would you say to whoever was running the Gab account that was so mad when I tweeted that?
Well, I mean, look, if they want to get mad, that's fine, I guess. I mean, the reality is that we're all trying to support free speech here. They're doing that too, in their own way. I don't really like that community that they have, and that's kind of why I felt that there was a need for this. That's just fair, right? I mean, yeah, but they're welcome to their opinion, and frankly, I mean, it's all in the same message, right? If your goal is to have a free, fixing the problem of social media today, then, who cares who's the one to do it, right? It's free market. Let's make it happen.
John Matze, we got to end on that. That's a great note.
Okay.
It's the free market, people. Let it happen. And an actual free social media where you can have free speech. Love the idea. I'm hoping that it's executed as brilliantly as you've been laying it out. John Matze, thank you for joining me today. You can find his platform, Parler.com, and you can find me on Twitter, actually. I have a Facebook, but you can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/TheAndrewMeyer, and on Parler, Parler.com/AndrewMeyer. So I've got my mainstream account because that's where people are right now, twitter.com/TheAndrewMeyer, and I've got my Parler account, Parler.com/AndrewMeyer, because when and if President Trump joins Parler, you're going to see maybe the most exciting social network we've seen of the last 3 to 5 years, because Twitter banning people, Facebook banning people, these platforms have become pretty useless. You can't really see a lot of the people you want to see. Like if I want to see Milo or Laura Loomer right now, I'm going to Telegram a lot of times. If I want to see Office of Mike Morrison, if I want to see ALX, I'm going to Parler. So if President Trump joins Parler, which he's talking about, all of a sudden everybody's going to be on Parler. It's going to be Twitter without censorship. So until that happens, find me twitter.com/TheAndrewMeyer. But when Parler jumps off, and it's jumping right now, everybody, I think you should make a Parler account. I'm endorsing you after this interview. Go to Parler.com/AndrewMeyer. That's my account there. And John Matze, thank you for joining us.
Thanks. Talk to you later.